everybody. Today, I hope you're doing well. And today I'm going to go over your online marriage assignment. I'm going to go through the whole thing. I know it's kind of a lot, but you can always just forward to wherever you need to be. The first part is just the cost of a wedding. It's just kind of giving some guesses first. So in the space below, I have a list of the stuff. There's a lot that you would, some of it you kind of need, and some of it is optional. But what do you think your guess for the average cost? Like a lot of these you can spend less, but you also can spend way more. So like average cost. So like wedding venue, this is like where you'd get married. And I totally understand, like some of you might not want to ever get married, and that's completely fine. But then you can see what you would be saving by not getting married. But so we're going to go through this. And you just make your best guess. So wedding venue, like maybe if I guessed, maybe I'd say, $400. Whatever. Like you can decide. And again, this isn't the cost for what you would want. It's the cost for like an average cost for it, right? Reception venue, where you want the reception and dinner. Sometimes they're the same place, but a lot of times they're different. It just really varies. So catering, having someone provide food, cake, other dessert, all of this stuff is in here. Okay? Then when you finish that, add them all up, get a total, and then you'll go back to the average actual cost. And so you'll go into, on week 8, you have the big day notes. This is like the wedding stuff. So this is more about the wedding than the marriage piece. And I have it up here. So you do big day stuff, learning and understanding the costs. Talks about some rituals, just some information, like in the past, traditions, that kind of stuff. And then normally I have people brainstorm in groups, like what the expenses might be in the wedding cost, but that's hard to do when we're online. And then here I have the actual thing. So this is ceremony location. It says 600 to 1,000. So to me, that's like usually what it is. So the average to me, if I'm giving a range, do just in between. So to me, it would be like 800 would be the average. So then that's what I now put in here. I go, okay, 800. Remember before I said I would do 400 is what I thought. So for this one, I was low, right? And then you just keep going, do the same thing. Do all of your guesses so they shouldn't match, right? So do all of your guesses. And then, every once in a while you maybe are spot on. But then go back in the notes and add what they all are. Okay? And that's what you're going to use this for. And then keep this up. You'll use this link and the link here a little bit later too. So don't, like, as soon as you get done with this, don't exit out of that. And then you should have a total cost for the averages also. And then you tell me, what do you want your wedding budget to be? If you ever decided to get married, what would you want your budget to be? What do you think would be reasonable for you? And again, it's like whatever you're putting for this number one on your wedding budget, if you spend more or less later on your assignment, it's okay. It doesn't have to totally match. Okay, and then it says go to the following website. We'll go to thecostofwedding.com. You just click on the link here, enter your zip code location that you would like to get married in, obviously if you choose to. And so if, like, say most of us live in Minnesota, I live in Wisconsin, but if you were like, I really want to get married, maybe you have family in like Colorado, and you're like, I really want to get married there, then do your search for that, like just do a Google search for zip code of whatever city in Colorado and do that. Okay, and then you're going to answer the questions, and it gives you kind of an answer based on what you're deciding. You do have to give an email address to get your results. Just use like a junk one if you have one of those, because you don't really need to get back to it as long as you keep it up. And you can also redo it. So let me click on this and just kind of walk you through it quick. And then this is where I'm going to just go 55128 is Oakdale. I'm going to hit next. City name or select one. So I'm going to type in Oakdale, and then why is this one not coming up? Oakdale, Minnesota. Weird. Okay. I don't know why we're having issues. So weird. I don't know why it's not showing up. Let's do Maplewood maybe. Just get somewhere close. Apparently they don't think Minnesota exists. That's so odd. Okay. Okay, so I know I can't get it to work. I can't get Oakdale to work. I couldn't get Woodbury to work either. I don't know, it's weird because I've done this before and it did work. But just do like St. Paul or Minneapolis or something like that. Or like do Duluth if you want to go up to Duluth and get married. If you can't, do the next closest that you can. It just helps with the cost because costs are going to be different depending on where you live. And then it's asking you to estimate like a date. I would do a ways out. Like usually people get married quite a ways out. So maybe I do in the time of year, like make sure you put what time of year you would prefer to get married if you were going to. So maybe I would do like, oh, that's not that far out actually. So I wouldn't do that. That would be really soon. So maybe I'm going to pick 2024 instead in April, right? That'd be like a year and 6 months-ish, somewhere in there. And then you just keep filling out, like how many people. This greatly increases the cost the more people you have. But I do know some people, like my parents would want me to invite a lot of people, and you decide, I guess. However, if your parents aren't going to help you pay for it, well, then maybe you do fewer. Okay, so I'm just going to pick the 51 to there, see what we get. And then you select top 3 words, best describe your wedding, like what would you want? I don't know, I'm just kind of, maybe those are my 3, right? And then top 3 priorities for your wedding. So like this means what are the 3 most important things to you? Okay, so maybe we do, I don't know, I'm just picking these for now. Okay, primary wedding color, like what would you be picking? I'm just gonna plop one in there. Most true regarding your wedding, so what would you want? Like, you want them to be at the same location, or they can be together, or you're open to either. Is that not sure? Where will it take place? Like, where do you want where would you want a wedding to actually happen? I'm gonna pick lake, sounds nice. And then this is which of these items are you spending money on or purchasing for your wedding? So you leave everything checked if you would do all of this. If you're like, no, I wouldn't do this. Some people do really small weddings and don't do a lot of stuff. Like maybe they do a wedding dress and someone already has an attire. Maybe you just uncheck that. It's really up to you. Maybe you already have accessories or you don't think they're important. Wedding cake or dessert. Sometimes people know somebody that can make a wedding cake, or other people are like, and do it pretty professionally because wedding cakes are a lot of work. Or maybe they just want other desserts or something. Okay, so you can uncheck whatever it is you don't want, right? So this is where you're going to just kind of check all these. If you don't want a DJ or entertainment, maybe you're not going to do that afterwards. Maybe you just like make a playlist and it just plays. Maybe you have to find a way to make sure you can be heard, right? So there's some of these things that you can do. Even in photography, there's a lot of options. Like maybe you don't need an engagement, you just want a wedding photographer. Do you want prints or not? Any of these pieces. So do you want a limo? Planner coordinator. This is like a actual formal wedding planner. Catering, like bars are expensive. Maybe you could take that off. All the different flowers. Maybe you don't need like a centerpiece for flowers. Maybe you do something else. So you just kind of check everything and then hit next, and then you just have to tell you're not a robot. Oh, crosswalks. And then I want to create my estimate. Okay, and then it gives a different cost for each thing. Okay, and I can click on these and it can give me a little more information about what's what. Okay, and this is where you can also be like, well, I wouldn't spend that much on a wedding dress. Maybe you can lower that, and that's fine. But it gives percentage of total. And then this are just averaging stuff out. And then they'll give you a total cost at the end. And then that's what I want you to write or do a little screenshot of this. So, and it's okay, like if I look on here, okay, I keep having people come in. So you can just do this right here. So just do like a little screenshot of like that piece right there. Put this up and get as much as you can in there, but make sure I get the total cost, and then it helps to have the little breakdown too. Okay, so just post it there. And then the next piece is planning your wedding. And again, if you don't ever choose to get married, this is how much you'd be saving. But if you did want to, this would be like what you would want if you were going to choose to. And some people also plan like a commitment ceremony. Sometimes people are like, I really don't want to have like a wedding that's like legally binding or anything like that. But some people like a commitment ceremony that isn't legally binding, and you're not married, but it's still just a celebration of the relationship. So that's an option. When we're looking at this, again, you're going to have wedding venue. This is where you would get married. And I'm totally fine if you do places that are free. Like weddings are super, super expensive. And it's like sometimes people take out huge loans and stuff to do it, which is okay if you choose to, but there's other ways to spend money too instead. So like if you have someone that maybe has like a gorgeous backyard that you know, and you're like, I could get married there, sure, do it. Always though think of, if it rains or the weather's bad, is there like an alternate like location that you could go to? So like maybe is their house big enough that if you had to, you could get married in the actual house or something like that. So like on here, I would put like, maybe if I put maybe like sister's yard, if that's what I would do. Okay, number of people. I have to make sure all the people would fit in that yard. Like if I wanted 50 people, are 50 people going to be able to fit in that and the alternate? And so if it's outside, I would put alternate spot. Maybe I would do inside her house. Okay, and then cost, like this could be 0 for a cost. However, like whatever else you want to do, you're going to do a little research. So I'm divorced now, but when I got married at Como Conservatory. So, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I'm going to go on and look. It's Como Park Zoo and Conservatory. So I go to their website, and on their website, I should be able to do this. It says rentals right here. Like it's right easy to find. Weddings and receptions. And then sometimes they'll give you the cost and sometimes they won't. And it can be different. Like there's different rooms that you can actually like go to. But like I actually got married in the main conservatory area and it was gorgeous. So you can check this out, read more. Like the North Garden, Lily Pond, Sunken Garden. That's where I got married. So we could check it out, read more, see if it can show us. And it does. So like on here, it says you can rental fees for 90 minutes. If it's Monday through Thursday, it's $650. On a Friday, it's $950. On a Saturday, it's $1,000 because that's your most sought after day, and Sunday is $950. I ended up getting married on a Friday, and it wasn't this much way back then. But these are, and this gives time slots and time options that you can do. But all you need is like the cost. So if I was going to say, okay, I'm going to get married on a Saturday in here, and then I would put $1,000. Okay, you can also look up other like venues. So you can do like wedding. Some people like those barns. It's really popular right now. Wedding barns in Twin Cities. Oops, I spelled it wrong. But, oh, you can look at the Summit Manor Reception House. That would be thing. But, 15 best Minnesota wedding barns. And you can, like, there's this Redeem Farm in Scandia, Mayo Stonewood Barn in Rochester. There's all kinds. Okay, maybe I want to see this venue. I can look around. Don't spend too much time on it. But usually going to the website is going to give me the cost. So you can look at availability, about vendors, services. Would hope they'd have the cost in here somewhere. But sometimes they have that later. Sometimes they have associated catering. They have all kinds of different things that go with it. But you might have to just search around. Sometimes it's in availability, so you like go to book. If you look, it might give you the cost when you actually go to book. So these ones are booked. Apparently there's, yeah, ooh, that's a lot of booked ones. So usually the summer gets like the most available. So it looks like you can actually check on this. You have to call the book and you can't do it this way. So I would look around a little more on here and see. I got facts. I could climate control, gives all kinds of information, but price range, no. Search around, but usually they're on there somewhere. Okay, so then heading back onto here, you're going to do the same thing. If your reception venue is going to be the same as the wedding, you just put it on there. But usually, if you're using it for both, the cost is more. Like I didn't when I was at Como Conservatory, you didn't use it for receptions. They have little spaces there now that you do, but we just did somewhere else. My stepdad worked at a hotel, and so we had the reception there. But I would look up the cost for that. Catering. This is where, who do you want to cater your food? Lots of places cater. You just pick a restaurant that you really like, and that really works. Or there's specific places just for catering. A cake or other dessert. If someone's going to bake it for you, put that in there. But normally people spend a decent chunk of money on a fancy wedding cake, and they are expensive because they are tons of work, tons and tons. Pictures or videos. It's okay if you know someone that you would be comfortable taking your wedding pictures of, you can put that. Like I know Miss Roberto, she does professional photography. I know she would do it as like a wedding present for me if I ever did get married again. Flowers, again, you can do your own flowers. It's a lot of work and you're stressful before the event, but you can do it. The officiant, you have to have this person. Like this is like the one thing that's not optional. It could be a justice of the peace, like a courthouse, but you have to have someone that's going to actually marry you and your spouse. And then doing the ceremony decorations, a lot of these decoration stuff, I'm not making you actually pick them. Just like come up with some ideas. And notice on here, this says number of additional information or a picture. So you could go like, oh, these are my pictures, and then this is my estimated cost for it. You don't have to find them exactly on for those. Rehearsal dinner, this is the night before the wedding takes place. There's usually a rehearsal and then a dinner for everybody. Do you have to do this? If you're going to have a really, really small, like more intimate wedding, you kind of don't really need to. If it's really like casual and laid back. Other than that, you should. So reception, DJ, and band, if you're going to have that. But you decide what of these things you're going to have. If you're not going to do it, then you can put that. But make sure that you're kind of following that. Marriage license, this is the other one. You absolutely have to get a marriage license. So the marriage license and an officiant, you have to do. Okay? So you research that, and then you get your little costs, and then some of your family traditions. Oh, give me a total. Sorry, it looks like I missed the total on here, which I want a total for the thing. And I can't change it because it's already on there. Some traditions, how would you pay for your wedding? So have a conversation. Would you pay for it? Would you have money saved? Would you get a loan? Would you put some on credit card? Okay, the smartest thing to do is to have money saved. And, or if your parents can help, that's great. But you don't want to like bankrupt your parents paying for your wedding either. Then next you're going to go to the last slide in the big day notes and choose an option for your honeymoon. And then tell me the location and why it appeals to you. So you go onto here. And then there's this right here, the link. You're going to click on that link. And then you just read through. And these are just options. Okay, I know like you might be like, none of these appeal to me. Find the one that appeals to you the most. There's Unionville, California. It's just saying all these lovely little things about it all. Like, which one out of these would you pick if you were going on a honeymoon? And some people choose not to. They choose to spend their money on something else instead, and that's okay. But you just go on, tell me why you like it. And then 6, what else could you use the money for instead of on the honeymoon and or an expensive wedding? So what would you use? There can be really smart things that you can purchase that like helps set you up for your future that you can spend the money on more. Okay? And that's your online marriage assignment. I give you 3 days to work on this. So it does take a while. Okay? But use today, tomorrow, and the next day, as long as you're reading this on the beginning of this piece, to do that. Okay, and then we're going to start with, that's the wedding, right? That's not the marriage, that's the wedding. The marriage is the important part, but weddings can still be really important to people. But we're going to do the marriage typology notes, so we're looking at different types of marriages, and then like 12 things that happy couples have in common, and then lastly, the marriage interview. So when we look at marriage typology, it's just classifying different kind of traits in different marriages, and there's 5 of them. We have utilitarian marriages, and then within that, they can be conflict and habituated, devitalized, and passive congenial. And it's talking about like what are all of these pieces. So conflict habituated is conflict, not harmony, is the most distinguishing characteristic. So this is couples that fight and fight and fight. Sometimes it's not seen by other people, except people in the like actual household. And sometimes even can be more subtle than that too. We have the devitalized marriage. At first, the marriage will have vitality, deeply in love. Later, time spent considered more of a duty, and spend time just out of obligation. And they usually get along well enough not to get divorced. Passive congenial is never had vitality. Again, still considered a duty to spend time together. Usually, major role segregation exists, like more traditional gender roles. Usually, again, get along well enough. And then we have our intrinsic marriages. This is usually the ones that people more strive for, that they would want. So vital and total. And not as many are fit than that. It's not as common. Vital marriage, togetherness brings mutual excitement, satisfaction, and pleasure. They regularly compromise and sacrifice for the sake of the other and take one for the team. However, it needs to be both individuals doing that, not just one. Otherwise, resentments build up. And then a total marriage is participation in each other's lives are more complete on all levels. The marriage has few areas of tension, and problems are solved as they arise. Okay, and then what type of marriage would you want? Why and how would you do this? So it's pretty simple. Like this, what does this look like? And then what would you like? And how would you actually work to achieve and maintain this type of marriage? And it's okay if you wait to fill out number 8 until you get to the 12 things happy couples have. It might help you do that. Okay? And then that's where it brings you to the successful marriage notes. And it's looking at when to marry. The divorce risk goes down if you get married later, later 20s into mid-ish, early 30s. Okay, I got married at 27. It didn't really help me a whole lot. I still got divorced, but I didn't choose wisely. So again, when you're looking at that, teens have a huge divorce rate, and then it goes up actually when they get older. Some of that might be second marriages also, though, too. Prediction of success is having education and incomes, insight, status. Higher income, usually the lower rates of divorce. Higher education as well. Length of engagement, so not getting married too soon after getting engaged, just taking the time. So you actually really, really know someone. Child and environment, relationship with families. Divorced parents may cause a shying away from marriage in general. And loving each other did not have an effect on whether or not they fought. Everybody kind of does it. Which marriage lasts? Couples who are happy and in love. Unhappy couples who continue marriage out of habit or fear also last. Couples in between who are neither happy nor unhappy and accept the situation. Little correlation between happy marriages and stable ones. And in general, the quality of the marital relationship appears to show continuity over the years. So it doesn't usually change a whole lot. And this is characteristics of a healthy marriage. This is not what you write. But marriage is number 1, even over the kids. Fidelity, meaning being faithful. Commitment, unselfish, time spent together, talk and listen, having touch and being positive about them are all important pieces. And this is where you write the 12 things that truly happy couples have in common. And you can just write the bold on there. So these are the 12 pieces, but they generally like and respect each other. It's huge. If you don't respect the person you're married to, it's going to be really hard to stay with them. They see the best in each other, so looking more at their good things than the bad. Couples have sex as goal oriented. So it's like failure is not an option kind of thing when we look at having kids or orgasm, that kind of stuff. It's not having that anxiety around it. Tend to be more non-sexually physical affectionate, so like holding hands, hugs, that kind of thing. Sincerely interested in what's going on in each other's lives. So discussions, make each other feel appreciated, communicate effectively is absolutely huge. And a lot of people don't know how to do that correctly. They're committed to each other, so staying faithful, wanting to spend time together, but don't have to be attached to the hip. Like they can do separate things and do things together. And absolutely super important, don't try to change each other. You have to accept the person you're going to marry for exactly who they are. And then trust each other and make others feel accepted. And I have some little resources there for you. So you want to just make sure you get those down. Goals you would want to accomplish if you choose to. How you think of strong marriages you know. And write that in there. And then the last piece on here is interview someone that you know who has been married. They could still be married or they can be divorced. Either way is fine. But like, what do they think the most important things are? And then you write what they say. Okay? So this again should take you till the end of the like 5 days basically. So this is like a 5-day worth assignment, and then you can submit it. So if this doesn't make any sense or you're having any difficulties, anything, let me know. Have a great day.